A hopeful neighborhood is where possibilities are the focus. But your ability to see these possibilities depends on whether you are focusing on assets or deficits in the neighborhood. To get a better understanding of the differences between an asset-based and a deficit-based approach to a neighborhood, let's imagine two people living in the same neighborhood, Jenny and Sam. Jenny and Sam live in the same neighborhood, and they both want to make a positive impact in their neighborhood. When Jenny looks around her neighborhood, she tends to notice problems first. But when Sam looks around the neighborhood, his eye is caught by all the gifts in the neighborhood. The difference between Jenny and Sam is the difference between a deficit-based and an asset-based approach to pursuing the common good of a neighborhood. Traditionally, most people who want to make a positive impact on their neighborhood are like Jenny. The deficit-based approach is a common and understandable one. The desire to seek improvement often starts with seeing what's wrong. When Jenny walks through her neighborhood, she sees needs and problems. She's struck by the scarcity in the neighborhood. As a result, Jenny feels a bit overwhelmed at the prospect of making a positive difference, and so she invites an outside organization to come into the neighborhood and bring their expertise and resources and volunteers with them. These are the hallmarks of a deficit-based approach, and while good for the neighborhood can come from such an approach, it naturally has its limits and can be frustrating for the people who live in the neighborhood. Often, they hear a subtle message that the neighborhood is not really theirs, and they aren't able to make a difference. Now, consider Sam. Sam lives in the same neighborhood, but he focuses on what is strong rather than what is wrong in the neighborhood. When Sam walks through the neighborhood, he sees assets and possibilities. He's struck by the abundance of gifts that are already in the neighborhood. As a result, Sam feels hopeful at the prospect of making a positive difference, and so, naturally, invites his neighbors to pool their individual gifts and the gifts in their neighborhood in order to strengthen their neighborhood together. These are the hallmarks of an asset-based approach. This asset-based approach reveals hopeful possibilities that focusing on problems alone never would. It also puts power and ownership of the neighborhood into the hands of the people who are living in that neighborhood. Jenny and Sam live in the same neighborhood, but their different approaches have many practical implications. Jenny's deficit-based approach may wind up solving a problem or two in the short term, but in the long run, it leaves the neighbors marginalized and all their gifts and insights and wisdom untapped by the well-meaning experts and professionals who come from outside the neighborhood. This deficit-based approach is problematic at best and potentially damaging at worst. Sam's asset-based approach, on the other hand, not only makes a positive difference in the short term, but in the process, it taps into the gifts and insight and wisdom of his neighbors. This collaborative effort leaves them empowered and engaged and hopeful for their neighborhood. A hopeful neighborhood is where possibilities are the focus, and an asset-based approach can show you those possibilities.